Oh,
The gavel at home, guys.
President,
Not now.
President Aguinaldo, we are ready to start the meeting.
Excellent. I would like to call the Calibrite College Board of Trustees Executive Committee meeting to order this morning on April 16th at 11:04 a.m. And before the meeting gets started, I'd like the board liaison to review the meeting procedures and protocols.
Good morning and thank you for joining us. I am Terry Lucas, Board Liaison at Calibrite College. You can follow our meeting agenda on Board Docs. The link can be found on our website, which is calibrite.org/board. For attendees who wish to make public comment in person, please fill out a public comment card and submit to me. For attendees who participate remotely, please use the Q&A feature on Zoom to address the board for up to 3 minutes. Public comment should be used to address today's agenda. A reminder that this board meeting is being recorded. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Terry. And if you could please call the roll.
Hildegard Aguinaldo,
Present.
Amy Costa, Pam Haynes, Jennifer Perry,
Present.
Bill Rawlings.
present.
We have a quorum, President Aguinaldo.
Thank you very much, Terry. Vice President Rollins, would you lead us in the pledge, please?
Please stand if you're able and face flag. Right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Welcome everyone to the meeting. Our first official order of business is to look over the agenda and see if anybody has any questions or comments as to its order. Sacramento, we'll start with you. Ajita, it looks like you're the only one there. Is there anything that we need to pull out of order? Sounds good. Any comments here in Gardena, Glendora? Are we in Glendora or Gardena? Glendora. Any comments in Glendora? No. Okay, perfect. Let's get started then. The first, second item 1.4 is the president's report, and I have no report. I'm very happy to be here. We're all very busy. The agenda is just perfectly meaty with the stuff that I think is very core to Calibrite's mission and vision and operations. So I'm very excited just to hop into it. And with that, I will pass it to President Menon.
Thank you so much, President Aguinaldo, Vice President Rawlings, and Member Perry. I am feeling energized after a few members of the Calibrite team and I just got back from ASU GSV Summit in San Diego, which this year was fittingly themed Learning at the Speed of Light. This convening brought together higher ed experts, institutions, businesses, and technologists seeking to solve for some of the most vexing challenges facing our communities in achieving educational access that leads to greater economic opportunity. This year, Calibrite was invited to share our insights and learnings on how best to serve adult learners, to discuss our approach as we sit at the intersection of higher education and artificial intelligence, and highlight our efforts alongside leaders in other states to create scalable models expressly focused on the 36.8 million Americans lacking access to educational opportunities and good jobs. The Calibrite team, namely Don Orth, Dr. Shannon McCarty, and Vivek Vyas, led a panel discussion with higher ed and workforce reporter Paul Fain, highlighting the need to embrace new technology to revolutionize the way we engage with students and the way we enhance learning outcomes, while also ensuring strong AI governance frameworks. As an online institution that's boosting future forward skills, harnessing AI and leveraging AI tools is critical for student success, not just in the virtual classroom, but beyond that into our learners' careers. As Dr. McCarty so eloquently said during the panel, Calibrite and its students should embrace the new technology, yet own the learning behind it. As a leading force in research and innovation across the CCC system, Calibrite continues to shine a light on the critical need to personalize learning for adult learners through our research and action. So in today's meeting, the Calibrite team will present an extension of our current research enterprise partnership with UC Irvine School of Education to build on the strong foundation of our development of multiple new approaches to improve persistence, completion, and enhance workforce outcomes for Calbright students. Through rapid design, testing, and scaling of initiatives like structured timelines that boost completion, learning cohorts that drive community and belonging, this partnership has created tangible impact for students while engaging almost every team across the college. With every innovation, new program, or partnership at Calbright, we continue to build with students front and center. That's why we're also piloting the system-wide Mapping Articulated Pathways, or MAP initiative, with Calbright learners to help unlock the non-credit to credit pipeline, which you'll hear more about during today's meeting. I am grateful that we will be joined and are working with Dr. Samuel Lee, a senior advisor in Chancellor Christian's efforts to expand opportunities for credit prior learning. Calbright is boosting clear, equitable pathways for translating real-world experiences and credentials into academic credit. And this is particularly critical, we know, for our adult learners. To make education work for the diverse needs of our adult learners, and in a time where technological transformation and social change are a flurry, you have to create the space, and you have to create it with accountability and safeguards. Innovation has to have space to happen, to test what works, and that is what we are continuing to champion at Calbright. And what's beautiful about this work is that Calbright's innovative, research-driven model is clearly working. We now serve over 6,500 students in 57 out of 58 California counties. We've awarded more than 1,300 certificates, launched 8 skill-based programs, with many more in the pipeline. We continue partnering statewide to boost workforce opportunities and are continuing to enhance the next generation of our student journey. And as I previewed in the last meeting, Calbright has officially been named one of America's top online learning providers nationally for 2025 by Newsweek, a recognition that reminds us of the value of a Calbright certificate. But regardless of the accolades, what we're truly reminded of is the value of Calbright to the learners we serve. Kalpana, a recent data analysis alumna, came to Calbright after a decade's pause from the workforce to care for her children. She has formerly worked in technology, yet 10 years out of the field requires an entirely new skill set. After completing the program, Kalpana landed a project internship with our research and innovation team, which gave her hands-on experience and an opportunity to test and demonstrate her skills. For a mother with school-aged children who is trying to re-enter the workforce, Calbright's flexible model with integrated support and career readiness opportunities is the key to unlocking upskilling. Calbright truly takes the lead from our learners, building and scaling programs and initiatives that meet them where they are and break down the barriers that they experience to accessing skills training. Over 90% of our students say they would recommend Calbright to a friend. And the thing that they cite overwhelmingly is the flexibility in our model as the critical component alongside integrated supports that is key to their success. As the future of the Department of Education and actions at the federal level remain uncertain, as our economy continues to brace for the impacts of these changes, working age Californians deserve resources to upskill, reskill, and prepare themselves adequately for today's workforce and what's around the corner, while also receiving the support needed to juggle their other life responsibilities. Thank you, President Aguinaldo. This concludes my remarks.
Thank you, President Min. And I just wanted to elevate something you said. Are we in 57 of 58 or was it 56?
57 of 58.
57. That's one since the ASU GSV conference. So thank you to the students in that 57th county. That's a big deal. All right. Thank you again, President Menon. At this time, we will transfer to closed session, but I have to read exactly what we're going to go over. So this closed session is going to discuss conference with legal counsel, existing litigation, government code section 54956.9D1, name of case Haley v. California Online Community College District et al., case number 34-2021-00304381-CU-OE-GDS. Is there any public comment on this closed session items? We expect to return about 10 minutes.
There was no public comment, President Aguinaldo.
Thank you very much, Terry. We'll break and head over. Excellent. Welcome back, everyone. We just returned from closed session and we have nothing to report out. We will now move to the consent agenda. Do any trustees wish to remove an item from the consent agenda for discussion or separate vote? Hearing none, any public comment?
There is no public comment, President Aguinaldo.
Thank you very much, Terry. This is the fun part where I ask for a motion in a second, but we only have two other board members here. So may I have a motion?
Whoa.
Oh, I wanted to move. I second.
Rawlings and Perry in that order. May I have the roll, please?
Hildegard Aguinaldo,
Aye.
Jennifer Perry,
Aye.
Bill Rawlings.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you very much, Terry. We are moving to the action agenda. The first item is item 4.1 to approve an addendum to the MOU between Calbright and the University of California, Irvine. And for that, I'll pass it to the Vice President of Sustainable Growth and District Development, Marissa Bold.
Terrific. Thank you, President Aguinaldo, Vice President Rawlings, and Member Perry. I'm Marissa Bold, Calbright's VP of Sustainable Growth and District Development, and I'm here today to seek approval to expand our multi-year partnership with the University of California, Irvine, or UCI, as you'll hear us say, and partners at the behavioral design nonprofit Ideas 42. Next slide, please. For the presentation today, we'll start at the broad level, anchoring on Calbright as an R&D engine, since this partnership is rooted here and really central to our work. Then we'll see an overview of the partnership and work thus far, which many of you have engaged in throughout the journey. And then we'll look ahead to what the proposed expansion will look like. As everyone here knows, Calbright was designed as an R&D engine for our founding and ongoing legislation. We have and will continue to intentionally build our capacity to rapidly test, design, iterate in a student and equity-centered way to deliver real impact for working adult learners here at Calbright and beyond, while driving transformation across the sector. As Ajita mentioned at the top of the meeting, the partnership we'll talk about today has been central to our work in these areas. And now we have an opportunity to continue to build on this momentum, accelerating our ability to iterate and improve, to stay at the leading edge of the learning curve, and to share replicable approaches with growing potential for scalable and sustainable impact. Next slide, please. For a quick moment of context, the current work is grounded in a multi-year board-approved partnership with UCI and partners Ideas 42. This is highly collaborative, action-oriented work focused on applying data and behavioral science strategies to inform new and responsive approaches to support our focused population of working learners. Through this partnership, we put data and behavioral science to work for our students. And as Ajita had noted, we are engaging almost every team across the college while developing and sharing research-driven insights and recommendations with the field. Next slide, please. So first, I want to ground us in this visual, one we share every time we talk about the work, because it really represents a guiding arc for us. The model we've developed through this partnership has been core to the way we work at Calbright. It reflects how we intentionally design, pilot, scale, and share new approaches to improve outcomes for our focused population. We're incredibly excited about both the impact of the specific pilots and, as you've heard me say before, the process itself, which supports the replicability and sustainability. We're continuing to build capacity internally to identify and solve problems in new ways, to listen deeply to student perspectives, to use data to inform solutions, and to regularly engage in rapid cycles of design, prototyping, testing, and iteration, and then sharing out what works, learning from that, and adapting where it does. Next slide, please. So what has this meant in practice so far? Through this work, we've seen a significant difference in retention, persistence, and completion for our learners while investing in our Calbright team and driving change for the sector. Each pilot is a strategic undertaking using a variety of data and behavioral science approaches. We conduct co-design sessions, gather and analyze data, collaborate to identify key barriers for our learners, and work with teams across the college to test and iterate on new approaches to ensure they're having a meaningful impact on student outcomes. One of the critical aspects of this partnership has been diverse learning opportunities for our team, such as through design sprints, lunch and learns, virtual summit, behavioral insights labs. And this is an example of the capacity building in action. By engaging nearly every team across the college, we can continue to think differently and adapt to meet the needs of our students. And it has truly lifted up Calbright as leaders in the space, not only for its impact here at Calbright, but also for the momentum it's generated externally. We've been sought out by peers and thought leaders across the country, invited to present at state and national conferences, been lifted up through earned media, participated in convenings with leaders throughout the sector, and more. And for those who may not have seen this work before, I'll share just a few examples of the work in action on the next slide. Next slide, please. Here's just a quick glimpse of some of the pilots and outcomes, and there's lots more detail in the appendix and more to come in future board meetings. With our timelines work that you've heard us talk about, faculty and staff worked with students to pilot and iterate personalized, flexible timelines where students made active choices around the pace and progress of their learning. This supported student planning and agency in ways that helped increase assignment completion. And excitingly, 1 year out from the pilot, students offered timelines as part of the initial pilot were nearly twice as likely to have completed their program compared to students in the control group. We love measurement. Next, our counselors highlighted short form videos to help reach incoming students in new and accessible ways. And we saw impact through boosted enrollment and greater engagement with student services in really significant ways. And the final example, just for this moment, in our peer assisted study sessions pilot or PASS workshops, students actively engaged with their peers to support one another with some of the more challenging assignments. This is exciting in that it lifted up the skills and talents of our students, built community, and led to a meaningful increase in completion rates for the assignments targeted by the workshop, and also for the entire section of that work, and evidence that we saw evidence of downstream impact on assignments and lessons even deeper into the program beyond what the workshops directly focused on. And I will note, as just a side note, all of these pilots have led to ongoing lessons learned, new approaches that we're testing on our own with the team as well, and just continues to influence our work in powerful ways. So we had the hypothesis that we could use data and behavioral science approaches to accelerate student outcomes. And we're so excited that this kind of highly collaborative, cross-functional, context-sensitive piloting is resulting in new approaches to support working adult learners in our learning environment. Next slide, please. The first phases of this work resulted in that deep capacity building for us and a model that has had real impact for our learners and lifted up in the field. Now we have an opportunity to further amplify the impact and support outcomes on a broader scale. By extending this partnership, we'll continue to build on the existing scope of work while expanding our focus for broader impact, as the board has lifted up in the past few meetings. We're going to look at more pilots and with a focus on transferable learnings and an eye towards scale. Strategic diffusion, which includes broadening statewide impact and designing in collaboration with others to further enhance impact, capacity building, and scalability, and to identifying avenues for continued innovation and growth going forward beyond the scope of the partnership. Next slide, please. This is a lot, but I will just give a quick summary. In practice, there's a lot that we are excited to do with this work. In practice, this means expanding the design and testing of new approaches with an even greater emphasis on accelerated outcomes, addressing broader systemic challenges faced by adult learners across the state, and identifying transferable lessons learned. And core to this next phase, this has been lifted up by the board multiple times, is collaboration and strategic diffusion. We've already begun exploring collaborations with sister colleges and communities, and we're excited to engage with colleges, communities, counties, and more to gather insights, share learnings, and collaboratively design, implement, and/or evaluate pilots. And this expanded scope of work also allows us to identify and pursue opportunities for continued innovation and impact to support the work beyond the partnership. For example, through strategic funding, joint research initiatives, or other growth opportunities that support our shared objectives. By amplifying and expanding our impact, we're also strengthening Calbright's role as a thought leader, helping shape the national conversation around equitable, innovative, outcomes-oriented approaches to supporting working adult learners. Next slide, please. With that, I wanted to end by revisiting our ARC, which we've updated to reflect the new evolution of behavioral and data science at work at Calbright and beyond, and to amplify impact through this partnership. This evolved ARC builds on the foundation we've established and extends it for broader impact and learning, with a deeper focus on, as we were talking about, scalability, collaboration, strategic diffusion, and systemic impact, with Calbright at the leading edge of the learning curve. We have a powerful opportunity to build on our current momentum, accelerating capacity to innovate, iterate, and expand options for adult learners at Calbright across the California Community Colleges system and nationwide. Thank you so much for your continued support and leadership, and I welcome any and all thoughts and questions.
Thank you very much, Marissa. Any questions from our team here? Okay, I have questions. Marissa, I think this is one of the most important things we're doing as an organization is understanding the behavioral science piece. And that goes beyond just querying potential learners for what they prefer and don't prefer. It's actually developing an understanding of the psychology behind their decisions. So I just wanted to elevate that and make that extra obvious because that is the contribution to the field. We are leveraging this as a science. So that's very cool. Could you talk about measuring the impact a little bit more? Because when we're talking about measuring the impact of timelines, you can see with a control group, for example, that the control group is not going through the program as quickly or as successfully as that with a timeline. How are you measuring the other interventions?
Yes, I love that. So we are using a variety of mechanisms, but I so appreciate that you mentioned that because we intentionally design each one so that we can learn and adapt and actually understand whether the changes we're seeing are a result of the pilot we're trying. So we are using either things like A/B testing, random assignment to pilot and control groups, holding certain variables constant while adapting others. And for each one, we're making sure we have a large enough sample size, that we're looking at student demographics, that we are looking at subgroups, that we are testing pilots where we can hold enough constant, because there is a lot that's in motion, and a pilot isn't the right thing for every intervention or every innovation too. So we are really intentional about which things we design so that we know the measurement we're getting is going to help us understand what we just tried and be able to adapt. And one thing that we're thinking about, so this is an ongoing, as you saw with timelines, we were able to measure a year out. For some of the other ones, because it's been adopted, it worked so well. Now we're doing it in every program. There isn't a pilot and control anymore. And so we're trying to think in new ways together about how to continue to understand the ongoing impact once we've scaled. And so we may be innovating there too soon. But so all that to say is that we are using many different data science and behavioral science measurement tools. We have measurement experts who we partner with. And then our teams have started taking those tools and using them in their own work as well, in running other experiments so they can learn. And so that's been incredibly exciting to see as well. Let me know if any more details.
I want to add one more thing to that, which is this, when we talked about capacity building or capability building and how this work has been used to build out that internally to the organization, that is a capability that we're now standing on as a college. And so our research methods and approaches get more and more sophisticated through these types of partnerships in ways that have a lasting impact on how we can deliver R&D, not just as an institution, but more broadly for the system. And so this is really important work for us, both in terms of the strength of the muscle of the way that we engage in R&D as this very tactical sport in terms of enhancing the outcomes and the efficacy of the model in ways that learners can touch and feel in almost real time. and the way that we are able to generate the insights that are, that can be translated for adoption by other higher education institutions or post-secondary education and training programs or workforce training programs. And so you sort of really get to witness the way in which this investment has been an important part of capabilities that we now have within our research and development unit.
That last slide. Oh, sorry.
As statutorily designed.
Marissa, your last slide as well was also particularly important because at the beginning of, say, smaller projects or programs, you're building everything out from the beginning and you have a clear expectation of what you're going to fulfill. But this sounds like it's also growing and building as you're going on in addition to what you're expecting it to do. So I really like how you're adding more detail to that arc that you mentioned. That said, could you kind of forecast a little bit, like the next time you present in front of us, what should we expect from the continuation on the growth of this arc?
Yes. So I would say it is incredibly important that we are designing for our learners, but our learners have learners like them, 6.8 million in California, 40 to 60 million, depending on which statistics you're looking at nationwide. And so I think for the next ones that you'll see us present, there's some that'll be focused on our learners, but we will also be coming to you with upfront thinking about how is this impacting our learners, but how are we learning with a population in 57 out of 58 counties, right? That is incredibly representative. And how are we thinking in advance about the scalability, sustainability, transferability? So feel free to hold us to that.
Yeah, no, I will. I think it's great that we talk about this R&D piece in virtually every single one of our agendas. My one thought is, what is that 58th county that we're missing? We need to find a student in that 58th county ASAP and turn this into 100%. So
I need to phone a friend. It is either Alpine or Modoc, and I just can't remember offhand which of the two counties that it is.
okay.
I will
Site
get back to
visit
we'll
to
get back to you.
Alpine or Rodoc. Great. Thank you very much. Any other questions from our board? Right, hearing none. Any public comment?
There is no public comment, President Aguinaldo.
Thank you very much, Terry. All right, trustees, the battle over the motions. Who wants to give the motion?
move.
Second.
All right, Perry and Rawlings in that order. Terry may have the roll call.
Hildegard Aguinaldo,
Aye.
Jennifer Perry,
Aye.
Bill Rawlings. Motion carries.
Wonderful. What incredibly short and sweet. I love it. All right, the next one is item 4.2 to approve a course outline of record for 2 courses within the Nonprofit Leadership Program. And for that, I'll pass it to our Vice President of Learning Instruction, Dr. Shannon McCarty.
Thank you, President Aguinaldo, Vice President Rawlings, and member of the board. I am Shannon McCarty, Vice President of Learning Instruction, and today I'm seeking approval for nonprofit or occupation program. As you may recall, during the February board meeting, our workforce strategy and innovation team thoughtfully articulated the need for this program, emphasizing the growing demand of skilled leadership within the nonprofit sector. The nonprofit leadership program is ideal for adult learners new to nonprofit work and those currently engaged in the field seeking to elevate their management and leadership capabilities. Nonprofit professionals play a vital role in addressing complex societal challenges, promoting social justice, and driving community development. This program closely aligns with Cal Bite's mission focus, advancing workforce development in one of California's most impactful sectors. Before developing the 2 courses, two course certificate program, the program design team conducted thorough research and stakeholder engagement to ensure relevance and alignment with statewide workforce needs. The curriculum focuses on practical application through interactive tools, skill demonstration, and performance-based assessments. This design ensures that learners graduate with actual knowledge and real-world experience essential to effectively lead and manage nonprofit organizations. Throughout the development process, Cal Bite also connected with nonprofit leaders, advisory boards, and subject matter experts to inform curriculum structure and content. These stakeholders provide insights into current sector challenges and the skill sets required for leadership success. Their feedback helped shape the curriculum to address the sector's most pressing needs: financial sustainability, community engagement, program evaluation, and ethical leadership. All course outlines of records have been reviewed and approved by Calbright's Curriculum Committee on March 27th, 2025, and the CORs are now presented to the Board of Trustees for approval. So we seek your approval for the Nonprofit Leadership Program, which consists of 2 courses, outlines of record.
Great. Thank you very much, Dr. McCarty. Any board discussion? Yeah.
So would it be incorrect to say that this is a little bit different from what Calbright's done and it's a little bit more focused on upskilling? Because so many of the programs are like, oh, a new avenue for you to pursue, but it sounded like from what you were saying that some of this is taking people in the field and growing their skill set.
It's really focused on the management and leadership opportunities. So yes, I could see where individuals that are already in the field could upskill from the curriculum, but also the opportunity to still bring people into the field because there still is a growing area and kind of a lap of skills in the nonprofit sector.
Sense whether you're going to end up with people more in smaller nonprofits or larger nonprofits, because as you know from talking to them, there's a United Way, and then there's the local seedling organization.
I would actually anticipate it being a lot of the smaller organizations. And I only say that I think just from like connecting with advisory boards and thinking through, who we've been talking to, and even the subject matter expert that we contracted to do the development, they are very rooted in the community and have a lot of connections with smaller nonprofits. And I think that's really where that growing kind of like need and lack of skills are, because the larger ones can invest in professional development and send people out, but it's really the smaller ones that lack the funds. And so this is a great opportunity for the smaller programs.
I'm going to talk to the Tide Center and this is a
No, not yet.
because they are, as you know, they are an incubator for many, many nonprofits, and that they start at the small level because they're an incubator. So I would think that this would be a great place to advertise the program. I think it would be of great use.
Okay, I love that.
For their
Thank you.
projects.
Perfect. Will do. Thank you very much.
We have a nonprofit subject matter expert on our board, as you
I
know.
see
So
that. I
it's
love
great
it.
to see her so passionate about.
And on Mondays and Tuesdays, I'm like, this is great. Go do something idealistic. By Thursday, it's like, oh, for God's sake. Something in the for-profit sector. I'm just kidding.
Well, we
No,
will
this is-
lean on that. So thank you.
This
very
is
much.
really great. And
Yeah.
I like that it's a bit of a new direction for Calbright. But I know it's research-based because that's what you do.
I love that you mentioned that organization. What is it? The Tides?
Yeah.
Tides Center, because my question to you, Dr. McCarty, would have been, how are we letting these smaller seedling organizations know about this program? And it's really because our external stakeholders are helping to pass the word on.
Yes, I would say our external stakeholders, and like I mentioned, the one individual that we contracted to help do is very rooted in the community. And so I think it's a great opportunity as we actually launch the program. So we have the curriculum and then we'll start doing the development. And it'll actually be a great opportunity to, through the development process, reach out to individuals that are in the field and get their voices as we design the actual content, and even bring some of those faces into the content so students can see them in action and get some real world experience within the program itself.
And there's a lot of
I'll also add, to me, the value of this work also is, as we have gotten deeper in engagement with different regions, the composition of which regions have a greater reliance, even on almost direct community services and other things that are provided by the nonprofit sector. Those spaces across the state, largely in areas that have some of that higher proportions of underserved communities, is a place where I think there's a real opportunity for us to support with this type of training and engagement work. So I think we've also kind of continued to track and observe the places where we think this could be most helpful and impactful for efforts going on in the region.
point. Those communities and these nonprofits are going. To your point, given the challenges ahead, these smaller nonprofits and these underserved communities are going to be facing even greater challenges ahead. So giving the nonprofits this greater skills to do that work is really important.
I know we're constantly chasing the 6.9 million adult learners also, but when we talk about the shifting landscape and the future, especially given more immediate stressors, it looks far bigger than 6.8 or 6.9. So maybe I don't know if that's what you were talking about, Jen, at the beginning of your questions was, is this a 6.8 or 6.9, or is this beyond that?
It's a good question. I think it's beyond it, to some degree. We won't know until we really go out there, right? I think it's a good question, and we'll know when we start to see who signs up for it and what the connections are.
Yes.
Yeah,
And I also
will
think a lot
say
of-
like, I would argue like, what we'll probably also observe, which we've observed in other areas, is like, there's a pretty big market gap between folks who are economically displaced, whether or not they had a college credential 20, 30 years ago, and the moment that they're encountering in the economy now. So I will say we are seeing shifting trends that a lot of our assumptions about what the value of a degree was when you got it in 1985 look radically different. And we're learning and experiencing that from some of the learners that are coming to us because they can't afford the price point of an unsupported, $20,000 data analytics certificate from an extension program. And I think these things in our public systems are going to become going to be increasingly pressurized, and also are going to bring to light the fact that some of the assumptions that we relied upon are going to continue to sort of shift and erode in ways that we are getting more on top of. And I think it is going to be important for us to be able to share that type of information out, especially as we engage more in the spaces where a targeted upskilling effort actually makes the difference from an individual who is comfortably in the middle class bottoming out, or having the opportunity to create stability in their families and to continue to advance and contribute to our economy in the ways that we need everyone to be contributing to. So I will say, I think the problem is getting more challenging and larger, and at multiple levels that had previously historically not touched or affected. And so I think that is certainly ahead as we think about what all of us need to be evolving our work to be responsive to, not just here at Calbright, but across all these public systems, including the two, we kind of have a foot in both places, in the workforce side of the work and in the post-secondary side of the things. And I think we're increasingly seeing more sitting at that nexus.
Totally agree. And the fact that this is a nonprofit leadership program as opposed to just a nonprofit program means that you have the opportunity to pull folks up with you. So I love the ripple effect. All right. Any public comment?
There is no public comment, President Aguinaldo.
All right. I think I know who's going to move this item, but please, trustees.
I so move.
Second.
Perry and Rawlings in that order. Roll call, please, Terry.
Hildegard Aguinaldo,
Aye.
Jennifer Perry,
Aye.
Bill Rawlings.
Aye.
Motion carries, President Aguinaldo.
Thank you very much, Terry, and congratulations. Next item is 4.3, approve course of outline of record for 2 courses within the Generative Artificial Intelligence, or AI program. Dr. McCarty, you're up again.
Yes, I'm still here. I am seeking board approval for the Generative AI program. And the introduction of the Generative AI program reflects the forward-thinking vision of Calbright College and our commitment to preparing learners for the evolving demands of today's workforce. Our workforce strategy team and innovation team identified a critical opportunity to support learners and professionals in developing practical skills with generative artificial intelligence, tools that are rapidly transforming how we work, create, and problem solve. Generative AI is being implemented across sectors to automate complex tasks, enhance creativity, and streamline data processes. This technology is reshaping how businesses operate, from content development to customer engagement and operational efficiency. The proposed curriculum is designed to equip students with hands-on experience necessary to navigate these changes, boost productivity, and stay competitive in the AI-driven economy. Before developing the curriculum, our program development team consulted subject matter experts and advisory board members to ensure the curriculum responds to real-time needs of employers and employees. The result is a practical, skills-focused program that allows learners to interact directly with AI tools and apply their knowledge to relevant workplace challenges. The program offers a strong on-ramp for learners seeking to upskill or pivot into new roles that increasingly require digital fluency with generative AI. And I also want to add that our competency-based model, with the approval of this curriculum, not only offers a structured program in Gen AI, but also enables Cowboy to modularize the competencies and content so that it can be really thoughtfully integrated throughout our programs. And this ensures students have access to and an understanding of the cutting-edge applications of AI that are shaping the future of work. So all course outlines of records have been reviewed and approved by Calbright's Curriculum Committee on March 27th, 2025. They are now presented to the Board of Trustees for approval. So we are seeking approval for the generative AI program, which consists of the approved course outlines of record.
Any trustee discussion?
Can you just, what does it mean to modularize the contents?
Yes, I would love to explain that. And actually, we're currently doing that with like our durable skills. And so what we do is identify kind of like top skills within program areas, and then we pull those into the program. And then those kind of same modules of content are in different programs. So, but students are still meeting those same competencies regardless of what program they're in. And that just allows some of the consistency across the programs. And so doing that kind of same process with Gen AI and some of the digital savvy tools, just making sure that students have that knowledge, regardless if they are going to like an HR program or if they're doing data analysis or working on cybersecurity, but they're all getting kind of that baseline knowledge of those of that skill set.
I feel like we are just very honored to be taking this vote with just the three of us, given how like monumental this particular course is. I mean, going to Jen's original point about the previous course outline of record, this is something that corporate employees could use to upskill, and it really broadens the reach of our courses. So we're, again, love that ripple effect. It's broad applicability. This is great. Contain yourselves, team, but who is going to move?
I'll move.
Do we
All
have,
right.
do we have public comment? on this?
Oh, gosh, you need a public comment. Any public comment, Terry?
There is no public comment, President Aguinaldo.
Okay,
I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
Rawlings and Perry in that order. Terry, may I have a roll call, please?
Hildegard Aguinaldo,
Aye.
Jennifer Perry,
Aye.
Bill Rawlings.
Aye.
Motion carries, President Aguinaldo.
Wonderful. Congratulations. The next item is item 4.4, which is to approve candidates for the 2025 California Community College Trustees CCCT Board election. The Calbright Board of Trustees is entitled to submit one ballot with its selected candidates to the CCCT Board on or before April 25, 2025. For 2025, there are 4 seats up for election with 3 incumbents running. There are 16 total candidates for the 4 open seats. At the March 26, 2025 Board of Trustees meeting, the Calbright Board of Trustees authorized the Executive Committee to select the candidates on behalf of the Calbright Board of Trustees. There was a discussion of recommendations that took place at the March 26th board meeting. And as a result of this discussion, the 3 incumbents were agreed upon for 3 of the seats. Jose Alcala from Riverside CCD, Inez De Luna from Napa Valley CCD, and Tammy Silver from Pasadena Area CCD. The other candidates that were recommended for the 4th seat were Udakjo Untuk from Long Beach, Ann Kepner from West Valley Mission, and Shinlu for Cerritos. I will now open this up for discussion. Do any of the trustees have any further recommendations?
Nothing further, but I would recommend Uduak-Jo Ntuk.
Okay. Based on our discussion, I would also agree with Udak, which would make him our 4th. So it would be Jose Alcala, Inez De Luna, Tammy Silver, and Uduak-Jo Untuk. So I would like to confirm that the 4 candidates are those. Any public comment?
There is no public comment, President Aguinaldo.
Motion and second, please.
I'll move to approve those 4 candidates.
I'll second.
Rawlings and Perry in that order. Roll call, please, Terry.
Hildegard Aguinaldo,
Aye.
Jennifer Perry,
Hi.
and Bill Rawlings.
Aye.
Motion carries, President Aguinaldo.
Thank you very much. We will submit our ballot accordingly. Next item is an informational item from Section 5.1 California Mapping Articulated Pathways Initiative. And for that one, I will pass it to Dr. Tamika Connor, the Senior Vice President of Strategic Initiatives, who will be joined by Dr. Samuel Lee, the Senior Advisor to the Chancellor for Credit for Prior Learning and Chief Ambassador of the MAP Initiative.
Thank you. Can I have the next slide, please? Good morning, trustees. I am honored to be joined today by Dr. Samuel Lee, who serves as the Senior Advisor to the Chancellor's Office for Credit for Prior Learning and the Chief Ambassador for the MAP Initiative. Dr. Lee has been a leader in shaping statewide strategies to recognize learning wherever it occurs and ensures students receive the credit they deserve. So thank you again for allowing us to share this important update. I am Tamika Connor, and today I will be reintroducing you to one of our students' personas named Brenda. So some of you have been around for a while on the board, and you may remember Brenda. She was a parent who was working multiple jobs, taking the bus back and forth, and also trying to pursue her education. And so this work that we're doing with MAP really illustrates why this initiative matters to Brenda and other students in our system and throughout the state. We'll explore how this work helps students like Brenda turn their hard-earned knowledge into college credit, and how Calbright is playing a unique role in making that possible across the California Community College system. Next slide, please. Let's start with, and can you please advance? Thank you. Let's start with, what is MAP? MAP is the Mapping Articulated Pathways Initiative, and we call it MAP for short. It's building the structure, it's an actual platform that we need to give students academic credit for what they already know. It started with veterans and has expanded to adult learners and students and other working professionals. This is about honoring learning wherever it happens. It could be on the job, it could be a training program, or through life experience. For Calbright, this aligns perfectly with our model. We specialize in reaching working adults, and now we're helping to build a system-wide solution to support them. Next slide, please. This slide really sums up the value for students like Brenda. When we award credit for prior learning, we reduce the time and cost it takes to earn a degree. Students can get better jobs faster. The process becomes easier to navigate, and it aligns with state goals under Vision 2030 and Title V. Most importantly, we're sending a clear message. If you've done the learning, it should count. Next slide, please. So again, assessing credit for prior learning based on qualifications, regardless of where the learning took place. So let's go to Brenda. Next slide, please. This is where Brenda's story continues. Can you advance the slide again, please? She completed Calbright's CRM platform administration program, which is an intensive skills-based training in a field that is growing very fast. Like many adult learners, after receiving her experience on the job, Brenda is now drawn to other fields that can build a stable, knowledge-based career, like IT, marketing, or human resources. The problem she ran into, her certificate did not automatically mean credit anywhere else. Next slide, please. When Brenda tried to take her Calbright certificate to another college, she hit a wall. Each college had different rules. Some wanted portfolios, others required testing, and many did not recognize the value of her certificate at all. Brenda felt stuck once again. She couldn't find a clear guidance, and she didn't know how to move forward. That frustration is what thousands of students face every day. Next slide, please. This is why the Calbright and MAP partnership is groundbreaking. Together, we're piloting a process that connects non-credit programs like the one Brenda completed with credit-bearing pathways. We are removing the guesswork and giving students a roadmap to continue their education without starting over. Brenda's story shows us several problems that we needed to solve. One, her certificate had no clear value outside of Calbright. Two, the process was inconsistent from college to college on how to receive credit for prior learning. And then three, traditional assessments did not reflect her real skills. And four, she had no visibility into where her certificate could actually take her. We knew we had to fix this. Next slide, please. Can you advance, please? Thank you. So the solution. This is what we're doing. We're unlocking the pipeline from non-credit to credit. This is a first of its kind approach. We are proud that Calbright is at the center of it. Dr. Lee is going to show you how we built student records in the MAP platform so that their learning can be recognized right away and mapped directly to colleges with next level certificates and degree programs. With our pilot, Brenda's certificate will now have a more seamless approach to CPL. There's one clear process for Brenda to follow. Her learning is assessed based on what she actually knows, not time and seat. And for the first time, Brenda can see exactly where her certificate fits into different degrees. This is about more than just one student. It's showing what's possible system-wide. As we move to phase 2, Calbright is taking the lead again, this time piloting how non-credit institutions can fully integrate into the MAP platform. This includes creating dashboards that show the economic value of learning and making articulated credits visible to students. We're not just building for ourselves. We're creating a blueprint for other colleges to use with non-credit and contract ed. And with that, I'd like to invite Dr. Lee to share more about how this work supports Calbright's mission as an R&D partner in the system. And I will let Dr. Lee know that I will be checking the time because once he gets into this platform and starts showing you bells and whistles, he could go on for hours. And we do have a time frame. Thank you, Dr. Lee.
You're on mute, Dr. Lee.
Thank you, Dr. Connor. Let me share my screen and let's see. There we go. Are you seeing the solution?
I think, Terry, we have to take our screen down. There you go.
There we go.
Okay. All right. And you're seeing the 281 Calbright students?
We are.
Okay, great. I'm going to leave it in this mode rather than slideshow mode, if that's okay with you. Thank you, members of the board and those in attendance, for this chance to talk with you a little bit about how MAP is working to integrate non-credit instruction for opportunities for credit for prior learning. Here we see a snapshot of the student intake for the Mapping Articulated Pathways platform, where we have 281 Calbright students in MAP. This is for a CompTIA pilot, a CompTIA certificate. And in this case, I've blurred the names of the students so as not to divulge their private information, but you can see that there are records created in MAP for each of the students uploaded from Calbright for students with a CompTIA certificate like Brenda might have. There are two ways Brenda might get credit. One would be to articulate her CompTIA certificate, which is a certificate she can obtain through her instruction at Calbright, or through articulating her coursework at Calbright. We're focusing first on certificate articulation since it is a common practice among the colleges in the field to articulate certificates, regardless of how they're earned in a non-credit, not for credit, or for credit environment. When we have a student in the platform, it creates a student CPL plan. And the way we envision this for Calbright is to display the student's CPL opportunities at credit colleges that have articulated course credit in recognition of this certification. In this case, we see for CompTIA A+, there are 4 different colleges that have approved credit for this. And so the student would be able to see opportunities to go to any of the colleges and obtain that credit. The way students would access that credit primarily is through a landing page. We've created CPL landing pages that are customizable for all of the California community colleges, including non-credit institutions. We have not yet developed the functionality to display the CPL opportunities at other colleges at a Calbright landing page. So this is a bit of a mock-up here, showing you an example. I'd like to zoom in on it. And so if this were configured, which very soon it will be, to support Calbright non-credit students, a student might go to the landing page for Calbright and type in the keyword search CompTIA. In this case, it's CompTIA A+. They would see in this case that there are 3 different possibilities for getting credit. One is by industry certification through a Cisco certified network associate. Another is CompTIA Network Plus. And the other is by credit by exam opportunity. So Brenda might use either the credit by exam opportunity that's been approved or at one college, or if she has that CompTIA Network Plus certificate and she hovers over the 9 colleges, she would see a list of the colleges that offer that credit. In the near future with this mock-up, when it becomes reality, Brenda would be able to click on one of those colleges and go to their landing page. I'd like to show you another way Brenda could currently access that CPL. So we don't have to wait for the modifications to be made for Brenda for her to access the CPL opportunity. She can go to our CPL dashboard of CPL opportunities, and in this case, type in CompTIA in the keyword search, and that will filter the list for all the colleges that offer CompTIA. In this case, A+ is what I've zeroed in on, and it will show the colleges and the number of units that are available. Let me put this into slideshow mode so you can see it a little bit closer. So you can see I've highlighted West LA College. West LA College offers 6 units for a CompTIA A+ certification. There are a variety of these different colleges will articulate different a number of units depending on their local practices and their curriculum. Each one is customized and approved by the local faculty at that college. So we know that there's an approval behind this, and And provided that Brenda has that certification, she has an opportunity to obtain that. In this case, if she clicked on West LA College, it would take her right to the West LA College landing page. This is a screenshot of the West LA landing page. And in this case, she again is putting in a keyword like CompTIA, and she's finding here are the two courses that are offering credit for CompTIA A+ certification. She can star those courses, meaning select them for review, and she can request a CPL review. When Brenda does that, it will prompt her to complete some information. For instance, it will take her to the CCC apply page for West LA, where she can complete an application for West LA. And once she has a student ID number, that will be submitted. Her package along with her CompTIA certificate will be sent to West LA College to their CPL coordinator. It will also create a record in MAP in the West LA instance showing that Brenda has made a public request for review to receive course credit in recognition of her CompTIA certification. So in this case, she has all the tools available to her now to obtain that credit. So we have not yet promoted this opportunity for non-credit students, but by working with Calbright, I think we will have a great opportunity to clarify the process and promote it and make it available to students, and in the process create much more simple interfaces for students to stay at the Calbright landing page and explore their opportunities for any coursework or any certifications that they complete at the college.
Dr. Lee, can you just close us out by also sharing how our work together is really focused on supporting our sister colleges and districts, particularly because up until today, we really have not had a pathway from non-credit to credit or even contract ed to credit.
Yeah, this is so exciting for us because it's opening up whole vistas for students in non-credit environments, contract ed environments, not for credit, community ed, ROP, adult ed programs, all to see while they're enrolled in those programs, the credit that they can receive at any of the colleges that have approved articulations. And so we envision in the very near future having landing pages for contract ed programs and for adult ed, ROP programs, and even industry certification agencies like CompTIA. So we're excited to be able to have CompTIA site where students who have that certificate could go in and explore. Not only would they see that they can obtain a CompTIA certificate at Calbright, but then they would see the CPL that they would be able to receive at the colleges that have approved it. So in this way, we're turning CPL from a petition process that's hidden behind a kind of paywall into an outreach opportunity for our non-credit and not-for-credit programs. So it's the opportunities are almost limitless, and we're very excited that Calbright's giving us this opportunity to create the modifications needed to make this possible and bring those 6.8 million working adults who don't yet have a college credential. Will see that regardless of where they learn or where they develop their experience that qualifies for CPL, they'll be able to access that, shop around, look for opportunities, and submit their requests to the colleges in a simplified format that has someone on the other end that will answer their emails and initiate the process.
You. And with that, trustees, I conclude our informational presentation.
Thank you very much. Any trustee discussion?
I would just say, very exciting work. And I know, we've got some really large non-credit programs out there that would probably really eat this up. I'm thinking San Diego, Mount Sac, North, others. So really exciting.
North Orange too. I will give a shout out to incredible work with North Orange as well.
We're working with North Orange and San Diego. San Diego is a wonderful example. They're already offering non-credit CPL And we have that on our dashboard, as well as high school articulated CPL, which is obtained through high school instruction, which is not for credit, and also through credit by exam. So, and we're excited about working with North Orange as well, since they have so many opportunities in the same. But this work with Calbright will help us lay the groundwork for all of that.
So smart. I mean, not only from a structural standpoint, it makes so much sense, but you're validating a whole class of learners who suddenly went, you know what? I thought I had life experience, and you've translated it for them into something applicable. And it's such a lift. It's really great at that more intangible level too.
We're excited. You know, we have an example from West LA College. They have a Venice Adult School where the students can complete an orientation to dental hygiene at the adult school in a not-for-credit environment. And West LA recognizes that the credit faculty have created an exam for those students and approved it. And it's an entryway into their dental hygiene program. That can be replicated at Calbright in hundreds of ways and across our state as well.
Wonderful news. I also love the fact that we're still following Brenda and really feel invested in her journey right now. If she doesn't succeed, you know, the board is going to be really sad. So
When do we get to have dinner with her?
yeah, we're rooting for you, Brenda,
Yeah.
wherever you are. Wonderful. Well, thank you very much. Any public comment, Terry?
There is no public comment, President Aguinaldo.
Very much. Let's move to item 5.2, which is the 2025 and 2026 budget process and timeline update. I think I am welcoming for the first time our Chief Financial Officer, Edward Lee. Mr. Lee, have at it.
Hey, great to be here. Good afternoon, Board President Aguinaldo, Vice President Rawlings, Trustee Perry, Board President, CEO Menon, staff and community. My name is Ed Lee. And I'm excited as the Chief Financial Officer here at Calbright College to present my first agenda item to the board, which will be an update on the 25-26 budget process and timeline. We go to the next slide, please. In accordance with Board Policy 6200, which is shown here every year, the college will share information to the board, aspects of the organization budget development process. While I won't go through each bullet point, I will highlight that the budget preparation process supports the college's strategic priorities, includes key known budget assumptions, and takes into consideration long-term goals and commitment. Next slide, please. Here are next couple slides here. We'll go through the budget overview. Next slide, please. So the budgeting overview slide here, again, you can see there's effectively three main steps in the process: assumptions, adjustments, and finalization. The assumptions section really is the core basis of the budget kind of development process in terms of the numbers that we come up with. So this process will include an understanding of the current year spend patterns, which primarily consist of personnel assumptions, program, and operating expense adjustments. Working together with senior leaders, other executive members, we work to understand spend patterns through year-to-date spend, and then from there we forecast anticipated expenditures for the remainder of the year to arrive at an expenditure forecast for the team budget for the entire current year. These help form the baseline assumptions and structure for the upcoming year's budget as we collectively work on kind of multi-scenario planning to take into account any unanticipated material changes in our funding streams. Additionally, we also have some structured time for budget leads to collaborate with one another to understand any interdependent aspects of our team, of our teams and the work. The second step here on the adjustments, if you go back a slide, sorry, consists of the consolidation of the initial assumptions, review with President Menon, Chief of Staff Drummond, and the Budget Advisory Committee, which composes a number of stakeholders, including Calbright students, who will provide feedback for any additional iteration for the budget leads. And lastly, in the finalization step, the final draft budget is presented to the Board of Trustees for review and acceptance, which may include any public hearings for further adjustments by the board. The next slide, please. And now we'll go into a little bit about the budgeting process, and we'll kind of do an overview of some of the two main fund sources college has. In the unrestricted fund source, these will typically include ongoing fund uses for the various aspects which are shown in the slide, which may include but are not limited to licensing and maintenance for technology-related tools, professional development and training, assessment of student program pathways, salaries, benefits, facilities, supplies, and incidentals, and other administrative functions of college. Next slide, please. Additionally, the other main fund source for the college is the restricted fund category. And these funds are generally more one-time in nature. Some examples include, again, but are not limited to, roadmap development, capital investments, design and development of the research and development unit, establishment of key partnerships, support for the development of core functions such as student experience mapping, building out of structures to support accreditation, establishment of business processes, policies and procedures, and various efforts for scaling. Next slide, please. Here, the next slide, I'll talk about a little bit about some of the aspects on the timeline. Next slide, please. So I know it's a little small here, but you can see some of the key kind of activities in the budget process here. You can see from top to bottom, you can see there's the start, the assumptions, the adjustments and finalization, the steps that I discussed in the prior slide. And then across the top, you can see the various dates from April through August. Today's April 16th. You can see the exec committee meeting in that kind of yellow box in the top left, indicating a review of the budgeting process together. We have already started, the budgeting process with a kickoff with the executive team last month, and we've already really started a number of the planning process meetings. On the assumption side, so what I was alluding to there, the executive team budget meetings really have already started there, which we anticipate going through May. We're also meeting with the Budget Advisory Committee as well later this month, as well as May, for any feedback related to the current assumptions. And as you kind of go down to the next section there on the adjustments, in May and June, if there are any anticipated any adjustments to the initial assumptions, our CEO, Chief of Staff, and myself will make those accordingly in the lead up to the sharing out the draft budget in the next row there and finalization to the board by July 1st. After the draft budget is presented to the board by July 1st, we anticipate additional kind of iteration based on board of trustee feedback, as well as any kind of other internal adjustments if necessary, to provide a final budget for presentation to the board in August. All right, I'm going to go to the next slide. I think that's all I had on the process and timeline. I'm happy to take any questions at this time.
Thank you very much, Ed. Any trustee discussion? Ed, do you happen to know the specific date on our 7-year startup period deadline?
Yeah, I'll start, and President, if you have anything else to add. I mean, I think our working assumption is that the startup period will be concluding as of June 30th of 2025. That being said, we've had various conversations, that indicate that the startup funds would be considered, not unexpended, but kind of an unencumbered balance based on the government code that reference. If that's helpful, if the President wants to add anything to that.
No, nothing to add.
Great. Thank you very much. Any public comments?
There is no public comment, President Aguinaldo.
Thank you very much, Terry. Ed, you're still in the hot seat for 5.3, reports on contracts and purchases.
Yeah, so we have, on the contracts and purchases standpoint, we have 3 contracts that we executed in March last month, and we have a purchase report totaling approximately $733,000 for March, and we have that broken down by expense category. I'm happy to entertain any questions about either of those 2 items.
Any trustee discussion? Seeing none. Any board comment? Any public comment?
There is no public comment, President Aguinaldo.
Thank you very much. And we let you off easy. Thank you for your presentations.
Thank you.
This time, that's right.
You prepared.
Be prepared. Next section is our constituency group reports. The first one is item 6.1 from the Calbright Academic Senate. We don't have a presenter for today's report, but they do have their report in board docs. So thank you very much to Michael Stewart for putting that Canvas update in the agenda. Item 6.2 is the Calbright Faculty Association report. There's no report there. 6.3 is the California School Employees Association, and there's no report there. But we have 6.4, which is the Associated Students of Calbright College update. And for that, I welcome Deb Hemingway.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. I would like to take the opportunity to introduce myself, Deb Hemingway, as the Associated Students of Calbright College, President, ASCC. I was elected by the student body to serve in this role. I was excited to represent the student body and thrilled to meet the Board of Trustees for 2025. Thank you so much for including the students' voice in your meetings. I'm proud to announce that we appointed new ASCC officers for this term. Completing this team is vital for our initiatives and will help us better serve the students and help enhance their experience at Calbright College. Additionally, I'm pleased to report that ASCC attended the Student Senate for California Community Colleges General Assembly on April 4th through 6th of this year. This event was so crucial for us as it allowed us to connect with other student governments across California and discuss resolutions that could benefit our college. I look forward to seeing all of you again in the future meetings to share updates from the ASCC. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, Deb. I will say that I met some of the students at the ASCCC conference, and they were so easy to spot because they all wore uniformed Calbright shirts. They beelined towards me, made them very easy to find, and they were so engaged and enthusiastic. What an exceptional group that you had represent the college there. So wonderful meeting you all.
Thank you.
All right, I think we are headed to the public forum. Are there any members of the public who wish to be heard?
There is no public comment, President Aguinaldo.
Excellent. The business of the Board of Trustees is now complete and we can adjourn. Thank you for your participation. It is 12:45 on the nose.